So for my presentation, I'll be doing the play Oedipus Rex, and I titled this play The Importance of History because this really is a play where the history is incredibly important. It has an extreme influence on how the play is written and how it's interpreted and read. I'll start by explaining the legend that went into this play. Now, this is the legend that inspired the play, and the play actually takes place after this legend happened. And the legend basically starts that there's a land called Thebes, and the king and queen of Thebes end up receiving a prophecy. And the prophecy says that their son who was born already, will end up growing up to kill his father and then marry his mother. So that basically means that their little son, the prince, would grow up, kill the king of Thebes, and then marry the queen of Thebes. And of course, they don't want this to happen, so they end up breaking both his ankles. That's actually what the name Oedipus means, swollen ankle. And they leave him in a forest to die. And so he's a little toddler, he's a small child, just left in a forest with 2 broken ankles. He's not going to survive on his own. So they think that this would stop the prophecy. But a man comes and takes Oedipus back to his home to be raised by himself and his family. And Oedipus grows up thinking that this man and his family are his real biological family. So he has no idea that he's from Thebes or anything that's happened to him. So one day, when Oedipus is older, he's walking around the town and he hears these people talking about a prophecy that a child would grow up and kill his father and marry his mother. And they know that this prophecy was about him, about Oedipus. And so Oedipus hears this, and thinking that the family who raised him are his actual biological parents, he runs away from home to try to stop this prophecy from happening. Now, when he's running away from home, when he's going down the road, a chariot drives by, and he ends up in a fight with the man who is driving the chariot. And the man who's driving the chariot ends up getting killed by Oedipus. Now, Oedipus doesn't know that this man was the king of Thebes, his biological father. And so he continues on his way and he ends up in Thebes. And Thebes is having this terrible plague. A lot of people are dying, and this creature called the Sphinx was the one causing all of this trouble, and she had said, if somebody can solve my riddle, then they will stop the plague and everyone will be saved. In a riddle that is what creature walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 during the afternoon, and 3 at night. And Oedipus actually solves it, and he says it's man. As a child in the morning, so during early in life, you crawl on 4 legs. Afternoon, which is like midlife, adult life, you're walking on 2 legs. And then night, which is older age, you're using a cane to walk, so 3 legs. Because he stops this plague, the people of Thebes make him the king. And because he's the king, he ends up marrying the queen of Thebes, his mother. So, as this quote says, no matter what his parents try to do or what he tries to do, he cannot escape this fate. Now, the play that was written by Sophocles takes place right after this legend happened. And we have some information about Sophocles himself, he was an ancient playwright in Athens, Greece. And 430 BC, this was about the time of the Greek gods Zeus, Athena, when people believed in that. And the other important thing to remember is the people who saw this play knew of this legend beforehand, and that's really what made the difference with this play, because knowing that Oedipus did fulfill this prophecy just adds an entire new layer of drama to the story. Now, basically the play is Oedipus's journey to finding all of this out. He has been the king for many years, and a plague is now spreading over Thebes. And he's a very arrogant king, he's very self-righteous, and the whole time he's trying to figure out what is causing this plague. He knows that it's because somebody brought disgrace to the kingdom, but he cannot figure out who it is. And ultimately, in the end, he finds out that he is the culprit. The queen ends up committing suicide, and Oedipus, not being able to take the shame, blinds himself with a brooch and ends up going into exile off on his own. Now, the legend and the play and how they influence each other is very important. And first we have the themes, the various themes that appear in this. The theme of fate is one that is very important because Oedipus and his parents do everything that they can to try to stop this prophecy from happening, and they can't do it. Fate was a very big thing during that time period in Greece, and so that's why it would be portrayed in here. And then we have here the theme of the parent-child relationships. So the parents are what introduced the child to the world, but then you question what, you know that, but how does that affect the relationship of the child and the parent? And that is talked about in the play because Oedipus, thinking that these other people are his parents, then influenced how he acted towards his actual biological parents. And had the king and queen of Thebes kept Oedipus with them, maybe they could have prevented this, because they could have shown him the world in a different way, and he would have known who they were. So, and this is actually an idea that has bled into modern thinking, as seen in Freud's work when he talks about the Oedipus complex and how that influenced the parent-child relationships. He was very fascinated by this and created the idea that a child has this underlying nature that they want to marry the parent of the opposite gender. Whether this is actually psychologically true or not has not been proven, but this has had a great influence on modern psychology. And here's the works cited and the pictures.